Best big van Calendar. So
All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to what we have a very, very special edition of the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table. You can see I'm surrounded by some incredible winemakers, incredible wine farms. We have got a very special one for you today. Today is August, well, it is August, and this is the month of Shiraz. It's a celebration of Shiraz this evening. We've got three incredible wines from three incredible wine farms, Cederberg, Tokara, and Saronsberg. So I'm pretty sure that you guys have obviously received all of your boxes that have been very kindly delivered to your houses by Pick and Pay online. So thank you very much for that. You would have received 3 Shiraz, bottles of Shiraz, as well as a really great little Pick and Pay hamper made out of recycled material that you can reuse, full of really great ingredients, all available at Pick and Pay. All right, so I'm sure that you guys are chomping at the bit to get ready. I just want to obviously introduce our Shiraz aficionados. We have, we've got one of the, looking straight up right here. I think I need to have maybe something to stand on. But Karl is from Tokara. We've got David from Cederberg, and we've got Mandy from Saronsberg. So they're going to be really just sharing some of their knowledge, telling us a little bit more about the wine producing. And I'll be teaching you how to cook a little bit using some fantastic ingredients. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with our first one, which is going to be Tokara, and then later on we'll move over to Cederberg and Saronsberg. So thank you very much. I think that would you like maybe just to say hi to the crew out there?
Absolutely. Hi from Tokara. My name's Karl. I'm the general manager at Tokara, and it's an absolute pleasure to be with you guys this evening.
I'm David Nieuwoudt from the beautiful Cederberg Mountains. It's the highest lying vineyards in South Africa, and we are very well known actually for that beautiful high altitude Cederberg Shiraz.
Fantastic.
And I'm Mandy. I'm from Saronsberg. For those South Africans that don't know, we were devastated by an earthquake in Tilburg in 1969. And it's just given the soils a bit of a shake, so we were able to make stunning Shirazes, which I can't wait to present to you all this evening.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll see you in a little bit, and can't wait to taste your wines.
Have fun, huh?
Thank you very much. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, guys. And Karl, it's a great pleasure to have you here. I've heard a lot, obviously, about Tokara. I've drank a few of your wines. And what are we going to be drinking tonight?
So tonight we have our premium label, Tokara Shiraz. This is the wine that we start your journey on with the Tokara wines. It's what we like to say, a single variety blended across multiple vineyard sites.
Interesting.
So it gives you a snapshot of our Shiraz vineyards on the mid slopes of the Saronsberg, which is where Tokara's home is.
Yeah.
Tokara, if I can go into a little bit of the history,
we'd love to hear about it.
Which is great. So owned by a family, which is very important for us,
yes,
because those family values then transfer to all of it's owned by the Ferreira family. They've owned it since 1994.
Sure.
They invested a lot of time, money, perseverance in creating quite a new brand, but on probably one of the oldest soils in South Africa, 400 million years old.
Wow.
The soils that we grow our grapes on, huge deposits of decomposed granite, yes, which lend a minerality and a wonderful sense of presence to the Shiraz.
Amazing. Well, as I said, we can't wait to taste it. It's very interesting. And then obviously with this month of August being a celebration of Shiraz, it's going to be a really great evening as we go through all 3 of these different wines, and we can sort of pick up different nuances and sort of see what they have to hold for us. Absolutely. Good stuff, guys. Well, as I also wanted to say, we are going to be doing some cooking in your kitchen today. So I really want you to get a little bit organized. Obviously, as I said, Pick and Pay Online are very generously delivered these beautiful packs of food to you. You'll see that there's lots of little packs and stuff. We are going to be starting off with the first one, which is going to be paired with the Tokara Shiraz, which is the sticky plum and sesame glazed, beautiful little aubergine. So there's a few little bits and pieces which we need to get organized in our kitchen. I've got a pan here. You are going to be doing a little bit of cooking for the first little segment. So what I want you to do is get everything organized. Take all of the items out of the packaging if you'd like. I've put mine into some nice little bowls over here, ready to go. So while we're doing that and just chatting to a little bit more about Karl and the wine, just get everything organized. Make sure that you've got your pan. I think get it to about a medium heat, and then make sure that all of your ingredients are laid out beautifully, ready to go. I'm sure you've got a couple of people there as well in your kitchen that can be able to help you. All right, perfect. So we've poured a little bit of this Shiraz, and let's have a look at it.
Absolutely, why not?
Fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful dark red color, isn't it?
Well, that's a good start. Hey?
Yeah,
it's always
worth
red wine, and it always
Exactly.
works in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And today is arguably one of the first days of this winter that has been warm.
It's
As I was driving in, it was 26 degrees Celsius, hot and dry, and you wouldn't believe that it was winter.
No.
Maybe spring is just around the corner. We'll have to see.
We'll have to
But
see.
this is certainly the way you want to enjoy a good winter
Yes.
evening. Lots of spiciness in Shiraz, generally around all of the different
Mhm.
regions that produce it. This is always made to be fruit forward, so voluptuous, and a lot of the characters that you actually described in the dish, maybe not the aubergine, but certainly the color of the aubergine,
Yeah.
would be referenced in this. There's that sticky plum, there's a little bit of spiciness, there's certainly a little bit of raspberry and black currant characteristics coming through, but always that typical spicy, almost a hint of black pepper that comes through in Shiraz as a variety. So Shiraz for me is always on the slightly more savory spectrum
Yes.
of the red grape varieties, where Cab and Merlot tend to be a little bit more fruity. This is always a more savory thing, and as a result of that, I think it pairs fantastically with the range of dishes.
I think that's exactly it, and that's from a chef perspective. That's really what I understand about Shiraz, is that it's actually such a versatile wine. It pairs incredibly well with a huge amount of dishes, not only savory dishes, but also sometimes sweet dishes as well.
It's a tough one, that way.
Yeah.
Oh, but some people get it right, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the things I try and always tell people, they get so like almost shell-shocked with this idea of how to pair a wine with food. Every single human being has a different palate.
Correct.
You can never get it spot on for anybody. What you like might not be what the rest of the folk like.
Exactly.
So experiment to your heart's content. You're going to find something that's really special for yourself.
Absolutely. Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's all about trying new wines. It's about experimenting. And it really is down to your own taste. There's obviously some rules that you can kind of follow, and some things that will work and some things that don't work. And that's what we are here to do. So I think on that note, I think what we can do is we can get into the kitchen. You guys should have been nicely set up at the moment. Get your pans, as I said, to probably a nice medium heat. And we're going to use these beautiful, tiny little aubergines. Karl was like, can you please get another bigger one from me? These are too small, but these are really, really cute. They're part of the Pick and Pay Crafted Collection range. Little baby aubergines. How cute are these? You can put them into curries. You can slice them up. Really, really versatile, like a Shiraz. All right, perfect. So grab your little aubergine. And what I want you to do is I want you just to slice off the green little bit over there. That can be put aside. And what we're going to do is we're going to just slice this into very thin little, not very thin, I'd say about 0.5 centimeter thick slices, just like that. There we go. Perfect. They're really, really nice. You'll see that these don't have a huge amount of seeds and stuff in it. It's really quite nice. And
what about the old trick that my mother and my grandmother, and I'm sure their grandmothers, a little bit of salt and rubbing the end until it froths.
See, that's the difference between these ones. They don't actually need that because they're so
no bitterness.
There's not a huge amount of bitterness because they're so beautiful and small. So that is the reason why these are so great. Cool. So inside your pack, you'll also find a small amount of butter. For us, the chefs, this is the way to go. We use olive oil and we use butter. And I'm a massive fan of butter. So this is the way we're going to be doing it. Into the pan, just melt that a little bit. As I said, you're probably on a medium heat. You don't want to get it too hot to make it burn. And I'll just pop that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to fry these aubergines very, very lightly inside the butter. So inside, here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pop that down. Get that into your pan. Turn down the heat so it doesn't burn too much. and those can just sit there and fry beautifully. Okay, good stuff. So as I said, I think that we were saying that there's a should we say, a minerality and a savoriness about Shiraz, which for me is fantastic because I think that it obviously lends itself to a lot of different things to eat. Cheeses, what do you think about cheeses in Shiraz?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sure, that would have probably gone to the microphone and scared off a lot of people. Cheeses are very interesting. For me, it's a weird. Most people want to go with a hard cheese, so a cheddar or a comte or something like that, something exotic. But if you have this with a soft brie, and you eat the brie and then you have this afterwards, it takes away all the tannin in the wine and it creates this incredible sweet, but not sugar sweet, like ripe sweet characteristic that comes through on the Shiraz. And I think soft cheeses work so incredibly well with red wines.
Exactly. And one of the things that we kind of learn when we do a little bit of wine pairing and wine tasting is that often we find out that fat itself kind of softens tannins. So if you've got a wine that's quite high in tannins, it's quite good to have some sort of fat.
Salt as well. Salt is well, when we do blending trials, to bring down, to have a look at the wine as it ages.
Yes.
But we age it like quite quickly. We actually add a little bit of salt to our blending to bring down the tannins, to allow us to see what it looks like in the future, you know, without a looking glass.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, guys, I'm sure that you are nicely cooking. Have a look at what those aubergines are looking like at the moment. If you can just zoom in slightly over there. They're looking really nice and golden brown. You don't want to overdo them. Obviously, we'd love to see what you guys are doing inside the kitchen. So please do keep your cameras on. I can see you doing in there, and you look like you're doing an incredible job. We'd also love to see what your end product is as well. We'd love to see that. And if you go and you take a photo, please do use the hashtag PNP Wine Club, as well as the hashtag, which I'm going to say this very slowly, Shiraz Celebrations. So Shiraz Celebrations and hashtag PNP Wine Club. Take a photo of what you're doing, post it to social media, and you stand a chance of winning 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points. So we'd love to see what you're doing. Take those pics. Just do that. All right. So hopefully you have got those aubergines that have been nicely roasted in your pan. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to sort of catch up there. And while we just explain them, I'm going to take those out and let mine rest. And what we're going to do is I'll show you a few of the other elements of what we're going to be doing in our dish.
I wish you guys could actually smell what's going on here. It really, really is good.
It's the butter.
Pan-fried butter.
That's exactly it.
You can't cook eggs without anything other than butter.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Good stuff. Cool. So when we're creating a canapé, we always like to add, we like to have a vessel of what we can go into, and we also like to add different textures. So what we've done is we've got a little wonton wrapper. Very, very easy to do. You can literally make these in seconds. 2 ingredients, it's flour and water. You make a little bit of a dough. You roll it out into small little balls and just squash them down. And then you make little discs with them, and then you flour them. And that is basically a wonton wrapper. It's kind of like an Asian kind of thing. And all we've done with this, which is very interesting, is we've got that little wrapper and we've put it into a little muffin tin. Push it down, put it into the oven for about 5 minutes or so, and you end up with these really nice little casings.
That's incredible. How do you keep them dry?
So they stay very, very dry. They are completely dry, which is very, very good, which is perfect. Okay, cool. So we've got these little aubergines, and once they're in there, we can, if we want to, obviously give them a little bit of a brushing of our sauce. So we've got a really nice sauce, which is from the Pick and Pay crafted collection range. It is the sticky plum sauce, a little bit of Asian influence, some spicy notes in there, which really, really works well. So if you still have your aubergine, you know what it might actually do? It might make things a little bit easier. I'm going to pop these back into the pan, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add the sauce to the pan, which might be easier than trying to put it over. So I'm just going to pop that into the pan and maybe just glaze that, which actually will work perfectly. You can do them either way. You can either brush it or you can put it into the pan. And I'm just going to toss that in the pan, give that a little bit of a glaze, which will work just as well. There we go. How's that? Perfect.
You're very disciplined. It looks as though you're only going to try the wine once you've got the dish ready.
There we go. Cool. So we've got our aubergine that has been nicely glazed. There we go. Either you can brush it on, or you can do as I have, and I just added it to the pan, which is a good way of doing it. There we go. And 1, 2, 3. Gonna have to clean it up. Now, if you want to, you can slice this in half just to make the little slices a little bit thinner, like I'm doing now. There we go. There's a really nice sweetness to that, quite savory, nice spices. And I think that those spices is something that would work particularly well with the Shiraz.
Well, I'm looking at what's coming up next, and I think sesame seeds are going to bring that nuttiness that the barrel aging of the Shiraz really brings to the forefront. So you've got a little smoky nuance from there, especially from the black sesame seeds.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what the lemon or the lime does, because that always brings out a freshness in the wine. So I think it's a nice combination of flavors.
Good. Well, let's see how it works. Exactly that. We've got a little bit of lime, lime creme fraiche here, basically, which small little smidgen of that. So what we'll do is a little bit of mayonnaise and lime. Very, very simple. What we've done is we've just grated a little bit of the lime zest into the mayonnaise, and I'm just going to pop a small little amount on the bottom of our wonton, little casing. And I'll just grab this, and I'm just going to place this in 1, 2, 3, a few little slivers inside. There we go. And that really is a nicely glazed, delicious little thing.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question now. So this looks absolutely delicious. What happens if you wanted to ramp it up and make it a larger portion? How would you go about doing something?
It's a very good question. So almost, what you could do is, have you ever heard of a sort of a melanzane? A melanzane obviously is aubergine that you've sliced very thinly, that you've roasted. You almost could do maybe a nacho bake kind of vibe with that. So what you could do is you could get your aubergine, you could bake it off in thin little slices, and then to add that crunch, maybe you can get these and you can just slot it in little bit by bit, and so you get a sort of a bigger portion, almost like a nacho bake. Maybe
that's a very clever idea.
All right, good. So as we were saying, we've got our little lime mayo. So I'm just going to place a few more little dollops around there. There we go. And then, there we go. Carl, we've got our little sesame seeds.
That's going to be the magic one.
This is going to be the magic. So we've got our little packet of sesame seeds, which have been roasted, black and white little sesame seeds. They've been toasted. And so what were you saying? Do you think that it will add a little bit of a
sesame seeds for me always have especially if they're toasted off, a wonderful round nuttiness, like a roasted nut character.
Yes.
And that's what you pick up when you age wine in French oak that's been roasted to create the barrels, and it imparts that sort of flavor back into the wine.
And so this wine, it goes into what sort of, it is a toasted barrels?
Yeah, this will be in French oak barrels for a period of about 18 months.
Okay.
About 10% of those barrels would be brand new.
Sure.
So you would get a really good element of that toasty characteristic. And then the rest are older, so it preserves the fruit. At the end of the day, you don't want to be drinking wood essence.
No.
You want to be tasting the actual definition of the fruit. And hopefully, over time, when you become more familiar with wine, you want to be able to taste the origin of those grapes. Yeah, and that's what makes Stellenbosch such an incredible place to grow red wine. Is that you?
I was reading up a little bit about obviously Shiraz, and from what I've also understand that there's two different sort of types of Shiraz in terms of cool climate and warmer climate. Obviously, I would imagine that a lot of people kind of might get a little bit confused about Stellenbosch, because obviously it is very close to the ocean, so you get those cold breezes coming off the ocean, but then it also gets extremely hot. Where would you sort of classify Stellenbosch in terms of a warm or cool climate?
Moderate.
Moderate.
Yeah. 180 degrees in an oven. You know how we managed to accomplish, the magic in this bottle is we've had two winemakers over a 25-year period at Tokara, which is incredible. The longevity of our staff is very important to us. And when I had the opportunity to grab onto a new winemaker, I went to a cool climate area where he specialized in Shiraz and brought him back.
Incredible.
So Stuart Britter is our winemaker, and he was for almost 12 years the winemaker at an incredible property in Constantia, producing world-beating Shiraz, 7 5-stars in a row.
Wow.
So, and this is the magic that he created.
Well, I can see it. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, good stuff. So guys, you would have probably have kept up to a little bit now. So what you got is you got your glazed aubergine, you got a little bit of your lime mayo. We've sprinkled a few of the sesame seeds on top, and right at the end, which we're going to add a little bit of freshness, a little bit of lime. I am going to just move that out of the way. I'm going to add a little bit of lime zest. In my mind, it doesn't add any sort of acidity. It just really adds a little bit more of the floral, fresh notes. So I'm going to take this little grater and I'm going to grate a small little amount of this lime zest right on top. And we'll see what that does. But for me, lime zest is incredible. As I said, there's a lot of floral notes in it. It's not only just lemon or that kind of sourness to it. It just kind of brings it all alive. You can actually smell that as well. So I'm going to hand this over to Karl. He's going to be my taste tester. What we'll do as well, hopefully you guys are at the same point. Take a little bit of a sip of the Shiraz. Sort of coat your mouth, see what you're tasting, feel what's going on there, and then take a bite of that canapé, and then see how it sometimes changes, or what you kind of pick up.
So here we go.
Are you gonna have to go full hog, I think?
Yeah, this is gonna be a difficult one. It's got sharp points. Before we get onto that,
yes.
You know, one of my favorite holiday destinations, and thirdly with COVID and everything, holidays haven't been coming recently, but there's a lot of the aubergine, the lime, the creme fraiche, the spicy Asian sticky plum Thai flavors, and it reminds me a lot of the little aubergine bursts that you get in the Thai curries with the lime leaves and everything. It's a lot of that character going on. It's quite interesting. So here we go. It's not going to be pretty.
Well, good luck. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Also, you know, Shiraz also really lends itself a lot to curries as well. It's something that's sometimes a little bit spicier, some sort of a hot curry. So certainly, I think that a Shiraz even would work with a Thai kind of.
That's good.
To enjoy that.
That's really good. And what's really nice is that you didn't turn around and say, "Here's one we cooked before."
No, well, everyone hopefully is prompting up as well.
That's really, really cool.
Okay, good.
That's delicious.
Good. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed that as well. We do have 2 incredible wines coming up as well. So make sure that you put this bottle down for just 5 seconds, or maybe just have a little sip, because we are going to be moving on quite swiftly to the next one. So, Karl, I think it was incredible. I really did really enjoy that. And hopefully that you enjoyed the pairing.
It was wonderful. It was really delicious. And now I'm getting the toasted sesame seeds coming through. It's really exquisite. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. All right. Good stuff, guys. So, yeah, that really, really was good. I'm going to move these glasses over to the side. We're going to be moving on to our second incredible Shiraz of the evening. I think that was really, really good. I think that, as you were saying, a lot about pairing, sometimes those spicy notes, the Asian sort of influences really work quite well with a Shiraz. And I think that it is all about trying new things. It's about experimenting. So if you liked it, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Please do use the comment box below and ask us any questions that you'd like. Not only will you stand a chance of winning those 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points if you take photos and you post to social media, but also if you interact really nicely with us as well and you ask us any questions that you'd like. We are here to answer all your questions. So please do ask us that, and you do stand a chance of winning a 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points. All right. So we're on to our second incredible Shiraz. We have Shiraz. And we have David here. So thank you very much. Oh, you've just suddenly appeared here in studio.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here from all the way from a very cold Cederberg, actually.
A very cold Cederberg.
As Karl mentioned.
Chilly place,
yeah.
Eh?
It's actually last week we had a -7 up in Cederberg.
Did you really? Was it snowing?
We had a lot of snow, but we need much more. It's not the old days when there was a lot of snow, but it's just our night temperatures, it's extremely cold at this stage, but it's still that massive shift. So you've still got beautiful days of 15 to 20 degrees, not the 27 that we had today.
Yeah.
But it's still winter in the mountains.
Fantastic. All right. And obviously Cederberg Wine Farm, it's been around for quite some time, if I'm correct.
Yes, it's an amazing property, Jono. This is in our family since 1893.
Wow.
And they farmed with tobacco and sheep for about 70 years. And then my grandfather, he planted first fruit in the 50s and then first wines in 72. So everybody thought it's absolutely crazy to plant vineyards up in this remote, rugged area. But he was a clever man at that stage. So it was an old fruit farm that we changed up, obvious, just 100% to vineyards with some amazing success. And this varietal, we always say, Shiraz loves Cederberg.
For sure.
And there's a few reasons for that as well, yeah.
So tell me the reasons.
It's mainly, I think, one of the big privileges that we've got is that we've got amazing soil types.
Yeah.
So a lot of shale.
Yes.
That you do not really find like in the rest. It's very old formations of shale on very high altitude on cool slopes.
Yes.
So it's a nice combination of beautiful soil types and then exposure to wind, big difference between day and night temperature. So I think that's on Shiraz specifically. You've got a very long hanging time, so extended ripening period, and you will taste it in these wines as well. They wines with great physiological ripeness.
Okay.
I always describe
physiological.
I always describe this wine is it's not ripened by sun, it's ripened by time, and that's the beautiful part of Cederberg, specifically in reds.
Okay, well that's very, very interesting. And what's it, so it's been in the family since
1893.
Incredible. Incredible.
But it's amazing that it's a big wilderness reserve, and we've got this little piece of land in the middle of the reserve, which is quite unique. So there's no other vineyards in a 60-kilometer radius around us. So the Cederberg is completely disease-free. We don't spray for downy mildew. We don't spray for mealybug.
Because it's so remote in this tiny little region where there's no other farms around there.
Yeah. Isolation, and then obvious extreme winter temperatures.
Extreme winter temperatures. No, nothing likes to live around there. Incredible. Okay, fantastic. And so this wine specifically, it's a single varietal. It's straight. It's only Shiraz.
It's 100% just pure. The varietal. Very multi-dimensional style. I think that's the beautiful part in the success of this wine over the last 20 years. It's super consistent, but it's everything that you expect from a Shiraz in one glass. I always say it's so we use it also in a little bit more modern style these days. I don't think this is the old monster in like the Aussies. Put us 20 years ago when I started producing Shiraz, it was this big 15.5 alcohols, and today it's so people say, so what have changed? Basically, it's just the production part that more whole berry, softer handling, a little bit whole bunch.
Yes.
So a little bit of stems in this one as well.
Okay.
And that's more responsible for the different flavor profile as well.
That's interesting.
But yeah, Shiraz is modern.
Yeah.
This is amazing varietal to work, of a variety to work with. You get so many different styles.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's and that's why it's so versatile with food as well. So you can get the more peppery, spicy style.
Yeah.
Then you get the more spicy dark chocolate style, and then you can still get the old-fashioned, old beautiful Shirazes, which is fantastic.
Which is quite normally seen as quite like a bold wine, isn't it?
Shiraz is, I think the style has changed so much. So Shiraz, the alcohols, they're much lower
now.
They're much more wines for people.
Yes.
And it's nice to chill Shiraz a little bit. If
this
you can
is slightly chilled.
If you no, this is just Cederberg room temperature. this came straight from the mountains right now, which is about 12 degrees. Yeah. But to put Shiraz quickly in the fridge before a dinner, do it. I think overall we drink our reds at too high temperatures. But Shiraz, if you chill it beautifully, Shiraz got such beautiful flavor profile. It's spicy, it's lively, it's one of those beautiful versatile wines.
Exactly, and that's really what's so nice about being a chef and having that wine, the opportunity to pair this. And we always get given the opportunity to be able to pair these wines with incredible food. And every single month when we do these winemakers tables, it just gives us an opportunity, and we really have a really great time looking at the different nuances about this. And this was really some.
What's nice about Shiraz, John, is it got a slightly softness to it.
Yes.
It got a much softer tannin profile, like Bordeaux varietals, like Cabernet or Cabernet Franc. It's much more juicy. It's much more lively. And this is what I love to drink Shiraz. So.
Me too. So do I. So do I. Okay, good stuff, guys. We're also going to be doing a little bit of cooking in our kitchen again. So if you've got the same pan, give it a little bit of a clean out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one other pan. Very, very simple cooking we're going to have. We're just going to be basically crisping up a little bit of some bresaola. So for this one that we are going to pair it with, we thought about cheese. And I think that cheese is obviously really, when it comes some nice sort of mature cheddar or some Lancashire or cheese like that really works quite well.
That's the normal way to do it with Shiraz. But
Yeah.
as Karl mentioned as well, with something soft, it just breaks the tannin profile of Shiraz so beautiful.
Absolutely.
But Shiraz is a winning formula with cheeses. Yeah.
For sure. All right, great stuff. Cool. So what I want you guys to do is make sure that you put your pans on the same way as we've done before. We're going to get it to a medium heat. We're going to do a little bit of a crisping up of our copper. We've got these really nice, really sort of like, we used some cheddar, we've used a little bit of Gruyere. There's some little bit of pastry bites. So very simple. You guys can do it at home. What we've done is we've got some puff pastry from Pick and Pay. We've wrapped up some really nice cheese, also available at Pick and Pay. It's the Fairview Stanford, which we've used, which is a nice kind of
beautiful combination. Yeah.
Nice cheese. It's kind of it's not too strong, but it's also quite nice and soft and quite buttery.
But on flavor wise as well, it's a little bit more neutral, I would want to say. You don't want cheese to overpower a wine as well.
No,
And that's the beautiful part. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, good stuff. So we're going to have our pan getting hot. If you want to use a small amount of butter or a tiny bit of olive oil, you can. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry roast our copper, our bresaola. And bresaola, also available at Pick and Pay. Very simple, dried, cured beef. Absolutely. Slight saltiness, a bit of minerality, which I also think Shirazes sometimes have that little bit of savory minerality to it.
Yeah, but again, it's not something. Shiraz got soft flavor, sweet flavor profiles.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful with a dish like this.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of butter to that just to basically soften up the pan. I'm going to pop these in. There we go. Pop it into the pan. Doesn't need to be too hot. All we really want to do is we want to take that and just give it a little bit of maybe a bit of crunchiness. There we go. There we go. All right, good stuff. Cool. So get that in the pan, see how it's going. We're going to crisp it up nicely. Please do take some pictures. I'd love to see what you're doing. Just a reminder again, there's hashtag PNP Wine Club, as well as the hashtag Shiraz celebrations. Okay, cool. So you guys have also seen that you've got these quite nice little boards. They are little presentation boards. You can pop your little cheese puffs onto it as well. You'll see in the pan, the edges are curling up nicely. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a turn. There we go. Turn that around. It's just crisping it up quite nicely.
Beautiful, eh?
Yeah. Do you spend much time in the kitchen?
A lot, yeah. But we've got actually amazing cook at home. So cooking, she's quite famous in the world.
Yeah.
She's the bobotie queen of South Africa by far. So when you're up in the Cederberg, she's obviously more private, but if you want to taste the bobotie, so we're fortunate that we've got an amazing person that loves cooking, and she obviously with a much more Cape Malay influence in food. So we're quite spoiled.
Oh, I absolutely love a bobotie. I honestly think that it's probably my favorite dish. If somebody had to say, if you had to pick any dish from South Africa, what would it be? It would be a bobotie.
But you'll never get a recipe out of her.
I'm going to come over. I'm going to try and pry it out of her.
Impossible.
Okay, cool. So what we do is we've got our nice little bit of crispy bresaola over there. I'm just going to put that down and let them cool ever so slightly. It smells nice, doesn't it?
Beautiful. And you've just used butter.
Just use butter.
Beautiful.
Exactly. So it's just fried. It's literally crisped up slightly. Bresaola. It's something also that I love. It's got that really nice sort of rich saltiness to it. It works really well. Okay. Whoop. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to slice this into a few little shards. Doesn't have to be anything particularly straight or anything. It is. We all just putting it together quite nicely. So just a few little shards. There we go. I'll give the one to you just to have a little snack while we're doing that. Okay, cool. And then as you'll see inside your, also got some nice caramelized onions, adds that sweetness. We've also got a little bit of sun-dried tomato and a small little amount of some dried basil as well.
Beautiful with a little bit of onion flavor to it. Huh?
Yeah,
will be really fantastic.
Exactly. All right. So simple, very simple. I think the caramelized onion with the cheese also kind of
beautiful combination.
Yeah,
this is quite salty in a sense. Huh?
It is salty. It is, especially when you cook it. I think that you get a little bit more of a concentration of those of the saltiness there. So small little amount on top. There we go. Same thing on the other side. Whoop. There we are. Same thing on the other side. And that little sweetness to it. Okay. And then we've got our sun-dried tomatoes, which we'll pop on top, and a little bit of basil. So kind of quite classic flavors, I think. But yeah, I think that's
quite a lot of different flavor profiles in there.
yeah, exactly.
And that's again something with Shiraz again.
Mhm.
The versatility of Shiraz with different, it's sweet, spicy, dark chocolate. It can be a roasted coffee, mocha.
Yeah.
It can be peppery, the lighter styles as well. So it's such a versatile variety.
Yeah, and it's definitely getting popularity. I mean, I think that, so how many, I mean, it's obviously probably Cabernet Sauvignon is probably the most planted or the most produced varietal in South Africa, and probably Shiraz is up there, right?
It's one of the biggest, the two biggest varietals at this stage
Yeah.
is Sauvignon Blanc and Shiraz. Specifically in South
really.
Africa, there's a huge interest in Shiraz. But
Incredible.
we've got the right climate for Shiraz. It's slightly cooler. You've got Shiraz is a site-specific wine.
Yes.
It's I say this one is, you can taste really soil in it, and it's such a beautiful expression of the area always.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got. We are versatile. We've got just between these three Shirazes, from Stellenbosch to Tilburg to Cederberg, and you can taste the massive differences of them.
And
They really reflect.
exactly, and that's what's so exciting about it tonight as well, is that we're not only trying three different Shirazes from three different wine farms. They really are area specific and quite different as well. As you said, very, very different in terms of the climate, right?
Completely, and they will be different with food as well. So
Yeah.
also determine the style that you want to serve with the right dish.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be good. We really, really think about that as well, is that, you know, obviously the first one that we tried was from Stellenbosch area, obviously quite hot and different climate, different soils. Cederberg, as you said, getting down to -7.
Yeah,
How do the grapes survive in a -7? They're
Actually,
trees.
you need a lot of cold units for like
Yeah.
any fruit, and specifically grapes as
Yeah.
well. But I've attended this beautiful cool climate Shannon tasting last week, and it's
Yes.
interesting when you think of what's cool climate. It's
Yeah.
actually nothing to do with temperature, slightly, but it's altitude, it's wind, it's there's a lot of different
factors
elements to
there.
cool
Yeah.
climate. You always, and then you get. The place can be 32 degrees, but nights can be 12 again.
And that
And
often
that's-
happens.
It happens. Huh?
Yeah,
If you go to Argentina with those ultra high vineyards,
yeah.
they're actually cool climate. But the days it can be 35, 36, but the nights they 6, 8 degrees Celsius again.
Incredible. It really is incredible. Okay, good stuff, guys. So you probably would have kept up now. You would have placed your caramelized onion onto your little cheese puffs. Your Brizola would have been nicely crisped up. If you want to, and you got a big bit of the sun-dried tomato, you can cut it in half if you like. I'm just going to place 2 of those little things on top.
That will bring so much flavor to the dish. Huh?
And I think there's a umami flavors comes
Beautiful.
out of the sun-dried tomatoes. And I think that umami flavors also work particularly well.
And
it
it
brings
got-
out fruitiness, doesn't it?
It's got a lot of acidity as well,
Yeah.
and this is what you need. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put 2 little things on top there, and we'll get our shards, and we'll just place those on top. Just a little bit of saltiness, a nice little bit of sort of dark. Also, when we're talking about umami, this really is a proper burst of umami like that. Really nice. Different angles. You'll see. You know, it's important when you're putting these things together that you have these different angles, different textures. And then last but not least, a very small dusting of a few little dried basil leaves, just to give you a little bit of earthiness. There we go. Here we go. Let's see what you guys are doing at home. Please do take photos. We'd love to see them. As I said, 300 rands worth of smart shopper points. Hashtag PNP Wine Club. Hashtag Shiraz celebrations. Are you ready for your tasting?
Sounds
Okay.
fantastic.
There we go. I'm going to pass this over. Same thing, guys, as we did before.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a little bit of a taste. I always like to have a good swig of the wine before. Let it coat my palate. Get those nuances, get those flavors. Have a little bit of smell. Have a bite. There's smiles coming up. Maybe you should tell Cookie. Maybe this is one of her recipes you should do.
But again, it got so much different flavor profiles. in it.
What I love is I actually love this copper. It's
But-
that minerality
But
of
the
it.
combination specifically with the sun-dried tomato, beautiful. Huh?
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you like it. I would have been a little bit stressed if you didn't. But I did think it worked quite well before when we did.
I think I will take.
You do. Please do take it home. Guys, that was really, really good. I absolutely love this wine. I think it is a true reflection of what really Shirazes are about. It's
a really classy style of Shiraz with amazing reputation, and it's such a nice reflection where it's from, and it's modern, it's alive, it's an interesting wine. Wines sometimes can be so dull. This is something with life, and that's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. This was a fantastic combination.
Well, I'm glad we could have spent all night with you here drinking some more of this. It really was interesting. So
Thanks,
thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, fantastic, guys. So we're on to our third wine, and thank you very, very much. That was really, really enlightening, and really, really enjoyed that. We move on as we go on to our third wine, which is Saronsberg, and this is also one of my favorites, all the way from Tulbagh. As Mandy was explaining, Tulbagh, shame that town was divided by the earthquakes many, many years ago, but that's not to say that the wines aren't absolutely incredible. And she really has, she'll come and tell you a little bit more about the Saronsberg Shiraz. But in the meantime, what you guys need to do is, in any kind of kitchen, let's give it a little bit of a clean. Make sure that you've got all of your bits and pieces ready for your last canapé. And I think that, as we were saying, how versatile a Shiraz is, it doesn't necessarily only have to be with savory dishes. Obviously, the savory dishes work particularly well, but I think what really, really works quite nice about the Shiraz is its versatility. And the versatility actually allows it really to be served with different types of cuisine, and not only savory, but also a nice dessert. And I think that is really what we're going to showcase a little bit now as well. So welcome, Mandy.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, great to be back. I think it was almost exactly a year ago that you came on and did a winemaker's table with us.
Definitely, and it was our big Shiraz then, and tonight we're going to be doing the Provenance Shiraz.
Well, that's very interesting.
Which has become incredibly popular through
Really?
Pay, so much so that you could almost refer to it as our cash cow.
Really?
Pay has done incredibly well
Fantastic.
with the Provenance Shiraz, which we're very happy about.
Yeah,
So it's great to be here. And it's so amazing this evening, because I'm not even sure whether you've noticed, but we've got a 2019, a 2020, and then Saronsberg is 2021.
Incredible.
So everybody at home has got the opportunity of tasting 3 different vintages from 3 different climates and areas and regions, and being able to compare and with the dishes that you're preparing.
Fantastic. Well, I think, that is very exciting. And that's really what today is about, and what this month is about, is a celebration of Shiraz. And it really is sort of bringing that to the forefront to say, look, this is the varietal that we really need to pay attention to, because it is incredible. And I know that Pick n Pay really are putting in a great effort as well to make sure that this varietal really comes to the forefront. And I know that there's some very exciting things coming up in the next month with Pick n Pay and Shirazes, so keep an eye on that as well.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we got here? Let's have a taste. Let's have a look at
we've got the Saronsberg Provenance Shiraz. Quite a distinctive label.
Yep.
And that is because Saronsberg, the owner of Saronsberg and his family are avid supporters and collectors of South African contemporary artists.
Yes.
Art. And this is an Angus Taylor sculpture.
Oh, really?
So as you arrive on the farm, as you're driving into the farm, this lady, her name is referred to as 8 Klip, 8 Water, translated out of stone, out of water. Yes. And it actually looks like she's walking out of the dam in front of the cellar.
That's so interesting.
A whole train of little rocks, all the pebbles from the dam, up to her waist are pebbles, and her train behind her. And the top part is a bronze sculpture.
Yeah.
And she's holding her hands in a triangle. I always say, because I'm female, she's protecting the fertility, the fertile soils of Saronsberg. And we've been incredibly successful with Shiraz and all our wines since the first vintage, 2004. So she brings a certain peace and calmness. Other than Princess Diana, I do claim that she's the most photographed lady in the world, because everybody that comes to the farm has a photograph taken in front of them.
What a nice way to enter the farm and seeing that.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
We've also got 2 art galleries. So not only do you come to Tulbagh to taste the amazing wines that we produce, but you can wander around with a glass of wine and wander upstairs into the galleries and just get lost in amongst all the artwork.
I think that's a definite reason why everyone should obviously visit Saronsberg, not only for that, but obviously for the wine. And there's
Absolutely. And there's just so much history in Tilburg.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, it was devastated by an earthquake in 69. And I'm actually mesmerized and shocked many times when I do tastings. People, there was an earthquake. Yes, we've had a few earth tremors and whatever up north of late. But this earthquake was a devastating earthquake in 1969. So much so that Dr. Anton Rupert was the one that financed the whole of the restoration of Church Street.
Did he really?
So all the buildings, and Tilburg is a tiny, tiny little dorpy village, all have the National Monument emblem outside their doors.
Because it was all new from
completely devastated. I mean, it went as far as up into series. It was really, really bad. Lives was lost.
Yeah.
Army moved in, tents were put up to house people.
Terrible.
That was obviously long before Saronsberg. And then Saronsberg was bought by the current owner, who's an entrepreneurial businessman.
Yes.
In 2002. And many times, you know, we all know after COVID and during COVID and not being able to sell alcohol, it's a challenging
100%.
Winemaking and owning a wine farm is very challenging. Often I'll say to him, but why did you buy a wine farm? He says, I enjoy drinking wine.
What better reason?
I mean, like, seriously, somebody has to pay for it going forward. And we're incredibly happy, and the support that we've received from Pick n Pay has been phenomenal.
Fantastic.
So
well, I'm
it's
glad.
great to be able to be part of the cooking
Absolutely.
again this evening.
Absolutely. So this wine, obviously, Shiraz, tell me a little bit about it.
So because Pick n Pay, we decided to go into Pick n Pay, the volumes, and we couldn't source enough from our own vineyards on the farm. We have two Shirazes.
Okay.
So we have the Provenance Shiraz with the Angus Taylor lady,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the Saronsberg Shiraz, which is adorned with awards.
Yes, I remember.
She wears her medals and her awards with pride.
Yes.
She's not the average South African lady that locks all her jewels in the safe, because it's a little bit challenging to go out.
Shows them all.
She wears them with pride. And we had the two. We had the Provenance and we had the Saronsberg Shiraz. So the wine of origin of this wine is actually Western Cape.
Interesting.
So the producers that we buy the juice from know the quality that we're looking for. So it's 100%. In their best interest to look after the vines and to be able to make fantastic wine, so that and the grapes, look after the grapes, so that when it does get bought by Saronsberg, the whole process follows in the whole style that we've been used to.
And all the blending and the maturation and everything happens on the farm.
On the farm.
Yeah.
And because Tilburg is incredibly hot.
Yes.
And we're in a boiling pot. Surrounded by the mountain, as well as in icy cold in winter. We start our harvest at 11, 12 o'clock at night.
I've heard that.
Teams go out at that time of the night with sort of headlamps, lots of singing in the village, keep them awake. And they start harvesting the grapes. Everything is done by hand. A lot of hand, manual, a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Comes back to the cellar, and then the harvesting, the sorting table, those teams start working at about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you live and stay in our vineyard cottages, they're called the Saronsberg Vineyard Cottages, and you wake up in the early hours of the morning, you hear the ladies. At first you think everybody's fighting, and then they break out into song. It is the most peaceful, incredible thing to experience. And all our grapes get sorted by hand. So they get destemmed. If there's a grape that might be overripe, that gets thrown out. If the grape's too small or larger or whatever the case may be, that all gets thrown out. Everything's done by hand.
Amazing.
Then those grapes go into trays, and then it goes into a forced chiller.
Okay.
And every single grape gets chilled down to 4 degrees before we start the whole winemaking process.
Incredible. So you really can't be doing any of that harvesting at a high temperature. You really want to be doing it.
You just have to be in the, and you know what? It don't have to be in the cool rooms for so much longer.
Yeah.
But not only that, you've got to think about the people that are working for you.
No, 100%.
I mean, they are,
exactly.
It's just unbearably hot outside.
Yeah, no, I can totally get it. Really can. All right. So we've got an amazing Shiraz here. We also, as we said, we are going to be pairing it with something slightly different, as a little bit of a dessert option. really, really fun one. We've got
We all
beautiful
need some
clusters, eh?
sweetness
We
in
all
our
need
lives.
some sweetness in our
Absolutely.
lives, exactly. And really to bring out, I think what we notice a lot with Shiraz is that kind of the red fruit, the kind of fruitiness, the berries. We've gone with something very, very simple, which you guys can do at home as well. It's a dark chocolate and hazelnut crunch cluster. Very, very simple. We've got some pretzels, really just some nice little pretzels you get at Pick and Pay, some hazelnuts and some dark chocolate. You literally mix them up in a bowl, you spoon them out, you pop them onto a board, you can put that into the fridge and you can make these clusters at home.
So easy.
Super simple,
So
super, super simple. And that's exactly what you got here. Nice little fun crunchy clusters. We've got some different elements which will kind of bring it out to life. We've got some raspberry coulis, very, very simple for you to do at home as well. Very, very simple. Literally, you get frozen raspberries, you pop them into a pan, a little bit of sugar, small amount of lemon juice, bring it to a boil, let it set, give it a blitz. You've got raspberry coulis. Very, very simple. Okay, so we've got different elements. We've got the dark chocolate, which I think goes particularly well with Shiraz. The raspberry coulis in this little piping bag. We've got this really quite fun little thing. It's this chocolate spread available at Pick and Pay. It's the hazelnut duo chocolate spread. Absolutely delicious. This stuff literally can be eaten with a teaspoon out of the jar. You cannot put that stuff down. Really, really good. We've just mixed it all together and made a really nice little spread. Super versatile. And then we have a little bit of some nuts and pretzels, which we're going to drizzle on top. Nice. Oh, and then you'll also see we've got some Moldan salt. And I love to add a little bit of Moldan salt.
Just brings out the flavors.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it'll bring out the flavor of the wine as well. And Jonathan, you must agree. I mean, for a 2021 Shiraz, it's so velvety, it's so smooth, it's so
really
acceptable
is.
on the palate. And it's not a wine that you necessarily need a plate of food to eat with. You can open up this bottle when you get home, for those that love a glass, and just enjoy it.
Exactly. And that's, I think, what's the special part about it is that you don't have to get too complicated about pairing it with this or that. Literally go home, open a bottle and enjoy it as it is.
Yeah.
What a celebration of Shiraz.
Absolutely.
There we go. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to be putting this together. We have got our cluster on there. We've got these two little piping bags. We're just going to snip the end off this one. And literally, as you feel, so a few little dollops around. If you want to do a drizzle, you certainly can. I'm just going to do a few little dollops. It's just nice with dark chocolate. I think dark chocolate and raspberry, any sort of berry go particularly well.
And dark chocolate's not that sweet.
No, exactly.
So it's not going to overpower the wine. It's just going to complement.
That's exactly it.
The velvetiness and the smoothness.
And talk about velvety, this little magic number right over here, which is the chocolate spread duo from Pick and Pay. This is super velvety. And I'm just going to also a couple of dollops around there. This is a proper decadent dessert, something that guys can do very, very easy at home. If you're doing a dinner party, make these in advance, and each person can get like a nice little, instead of doing, I don't know what those like little chocolate, can't remember what they're called, but instead of doing those, we can just fondant, exactly, you know, forever. It takes forever. We can do these, which is fantastic.
Before the time, and then you can have another glass of wine.
Exactly.
Just
well done.
Start relaxing before everybody arrives.
Cool. We've got a quick question, which I think is quite nice. Is many estates are producing sparkling whites. Are there any producers that are coming on board for sparkling? So I don't know if you know any of any.
Well, there are, because I mean, there are sparkling wines made out of Pinot Noir, which is a very great variety.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
And I mean, that's the classic Pinot Noir is a classic red varietal that the French use in their champagnes.
There you go. It's very, very insightful. There you go. Thank you. All right, so we're going to add a small amount of crunch, which are these little pretzel bits right on top of our little dessert here. Nice little nut cluster, little pretzels. And as I said, the last little bit, which I always love to add to chocolate, is a little bit of Moldan salt. A small amount of the salt just to give it a little bit of a savory note, kind of balance it out. But I think anything with dark chocolate, I love that Lindt dark chocolate with the sea salt. This is exactly that.
And Jonathan, anybody that's never had Moldan salt, they need to go out and buy a box of Moldan salt.
Yeah,
I think so. You can't compare it to
fine table salt. No, I agree. I totally agree. And I think that the minerality sometimes of the Shiraz is exactly why we added that.
Yes.
Try it out, give it an experiment. And as we said, this is what it's all about. It really is about experimenting. Add anything you'd like to. These kind of things you can top with any little bits and pieces. If you've got some nuts, toasted nuts, if you've got any hazelnuts, almonds, that'll work particularly well with that. So similar thing, time for the third little tasting. This is a nice big bite. You don't have to take all of it. That's quite a big of a hunk of chunk.
You want me to share with you?
Yeah, no, maybe. All right, so guys, have a little sip of this. This is also will be a very interesting one. We've gone through, obviously, the 3 different Shirazes, each from a different climate, hot, medium, cool climate, to something which is really, really cold, something which is obviously really gets really, really hot, as well as different years of the varietals as well, 18, 19, and 21 as well. So, thank you guys. Also, we've also got some winners, which is fantastic news as well. The guys that really have taken some incredible photos of their dishes and posted it to social media, they are going to be winning 300 rands worth of Smart Shopper points. Lucky people. And we've got 3 winners. Maybe you'd like to read out the winners over here.
Right. First winner is Lee Woods. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Then Brian Airy and Gigi Gibbs. I
Well
hope
done.
I'm pronouncing the names all right.
I think so. I would have pronounced it the same way. Well done.
Well done.
All right, perfect. Well done. So those guys are getting 300 rands worth of Smart Shopper points, and they aren't the only winners of this evening as well. Not only have you guys been experiencing 3 incredible wines with guys that really have been able to explain a lot more about Shiraz, but inside your box, you'll also find that you've got a voucher here, which is 100 rands worth off your next wine shop. So if you go online and you use the code voucher here, which is Shiraz 100, you'll receive 100 rands worth off your next purchase of wines as well as also probably receiving 25% off each of these wines as well. So you guys really have done pretty well tonight, I think. Excellent. As well. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to quickly bring up everybody of my other winemakers up here to say goodbye. And while they do that, they're going to come up. So, but thank you, Mandy. I think that it was an incredible inspiration of what Shiraz is all about and a little bit more about Saronsberg. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to Karl, and thank you for David as well.
Yes,
I think so too. Let's share. Let's share. There we are. For another one.
Can I pour you more wine?
Exactly. I think so. All right.
It's just a pleasure, David.
There we go. There we are for each other. It is August. It's a celebration of Shiraz, and thank you everyone for being here. I think we've had an incredible evening, and thank you very much. Absolutely.
Cheers.
So if you are in town in Durban, please pop by on the 19th of August. We'll see you there. And thank you very much. And cheers again. Cheerio. Bye-bye. Thank you.